Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition of your, I'm going to assume it's your favorite podcast, Plastic Adventures. It's my favorite podcast.
Mine too.
And we're going to be talking about a little bit of everything, I think, today. Maybe some news. We'll share about some of the things that we did for the toy show.
Toy potpourri.
Toy potpourri.
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. What's that smell? Plastic.
Well, it's not what the Rock is cooking. It smells like plastic crack.
Plastic crack. All right. So, for news, Steve, what do you got?
Not a lot jumping out. You know, we had a really good time at the Greater Inland Northwest Toy Show, that biannual deal that happens up in Spokane, thanks to Time Bomb Toys. If you've never been there, check them out. That dude's shop is super cool, and
Yep.
you won't find a nicer guy. But anyways, a couple of the things that kind of stuck with me this week is we talked about O-Ring Joe. We've got that Sky Striker, and right now we're only sitting at about 5,500 buys on it.
I saw that.
Needs to hit 10,000 just to hit tier 1. Usually there's a gigantic groundswell within like the last week or so when these things are crowdfunding, but I'm not sure. Maybe that was a little miscalculation on Hasbro's part. I love it. I think it's a great looking toy. I think that the tier increases, all the extra figures and cool stuff. I mean, you're talking about $229 for a scaled Sky Striker to the original, with pilots, with ground assistance. I just saw that Super 7 released some teaser images of their Turtle Van, and it's $450.
That turtle van looks so cool.
It's rad, but that ain't no Sky Striker.
No, that's true. $229 is a good price.
The price of the Sky Striker. So to be able to get that kind of a vehicle, you're basically looking at like these Star Wars Black Series deluxe size vehicles. You know, when you see the big X-Wing and the TIE Fighters, and they're 120 or $140. The Millennium Falcon for $200.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're getting a big deluxe vehicle for the fans, to the fans, as a love letter. $229 is not that bad. So I think it'll fund. I don't know if it's going to hit any of its stretch goals.
Probably not. I think what we'll see is what you said, is when we get towards that very end of it, which we're coming up to not too far from now.
About mid-December, I
Yep.
think. Yeah.
So I think when we get closer to that, you're going to see a jump in those orders. The problem is that the money's up front, right? It's an upfront thing.
It is. Yep.
So we're talking during Christmas time, during the holiday seasons, which is always kind of a drain on people's money anyway. So I don't know if the timing was perfect or not, but I think maybe we'll see a jump at the very end.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing that we're going to see in about 3 months. $229 Sky Strikers for $350 on eBay.
Yeah, we will.
And everybody who wait and sat on their hands are going to feel real sorry about it, and they're paying that extra $130 to the scalpers out there.
But if they didn't pay $229 for it, are they going to pay $350 for it?
They will. You mark my words, the people who are sorry and sad. They did the same thing with William Stout collection Masters of the Universe movie figures that came from Super 7.
Mm-hmm.
Anything like this, I can virtually guarantee you're going to have at least a few thousand people who remorsefully didn't buy it when they were supposed to, and now they're paying premium. So if you love Joe, you want to support the new O-Ring, it's a great idea to just get invested and get it.
There are some neat upgrades specifically for that TIE Fighter, or for that Sky Striker. And, the wings being able to be in different positions separate from the wheels being up or down is a great addition that I always wanted with my original Sky Strikers. It comes with a lot of ground crew stuff, which is pretty neat.
The little support vehicles.
Yeah, and then you have different missiles that you can do your loadout on. So, and then there's a little details that have been added to it as well. So it is slightly different than the Sky Striker from before, but I have 2 of them. I have the original and I have the Silent Strike, and I don't know if I could go for a third one. I mean, as much as I like it and as much as I would love to have it, it's like,
I see it. Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, would it have been better to come out with a vehicle set instead of like a Sky Striker? Maybe come out with like a Vamp and a you know what I'm saying, or something like that.
Vamp and
a Ram or a Vamp and
a Striker or something. I mean, they've already got that, but put it in some kind of a set. We just got the Striker. I wouldn't want to see that. But
no, but
a Vamp and a Stinger.
Oh yeah,
there you go. Vamp and a Stinger. They could even share a little bit of the same tooling.
Mm-hmm.
Come with the drivers, and put it at $100,
yep.
Something like that, $120, and it would sell.
I think so. So I don't know. Maybe we're wrong, and like you said, maybe towards the end of the as it starts coming up to the end of it, people will see a jump. I'm hoping that's the case.
I sure hope it's successful. Kind of sticking with that, there was somebody that dropped hints that Dr. Mindbender is on the docket for O-ring treatment.
Mindbender?
I know, huh? Right? Like, you've got
before Duke? Or before...
Well, like, he could be somewhere coming in the line. I don't know how I feel about that, honestly, because this is...
Are they going to give him a shirt this time?
I don't know if I'll have a shirt this time. I hope so. Cobra's really got to tighten down. The HR department's in trouble over there.
Like, they started out so well with their uniform code, and then as people got hired, they just kind of let it go.
If you thought that G.I. Joe was lax and let a guy wear his football jersey to work, look at Cobra sometime. You get, like, half-naked wrestlers.
Hey, we don't ask, don't tell. Yeah. We don't judge.
Hell, maybe Cobra's really actually very progressive.
Maybe they are.
In the workplace, yeah. Maybe. A guy can dress as a bird and come to work.
Bring his alligator to work day. Who knows?
I identify as a bird.
Cobra. I hate that.
Dr. Mindbender. We have so much O-ring to get to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a long ways down there, and this is a line that's for the fans, to the fans, and it just gives you everything you could ever want to have to recapture that magic. You get the card art, you get a super accurate new resculpt, redo sculpt. So I'm not sure that I'm understanding that. I'm hoping that maybe if they've got this thing plotted out like 3 or 4 waves in, and even if they were doing a best of where, you get Grunt in the same package that you're going to be getting Low Light, dude, there are so many like fan favorites and excellent figures to get to before you get to the monocle guy who doesn't wear his shirt to work with a funny mustache.
But here's what I think about that. I think G.I. Joe has kind of missed the mark on that as far as the retro is concerned. I mean, and let's look at all of the ones that came before them that have done really well in the retro market. So the Star Wars retro release were the initial Star Wars ones. They didn't just start with, the Cantina or people from Return of the Jedi. They gave us Star Wars: A New Hope.
Yeah, how would you feel if the 6 figures you were getting from New Hope was like Gonk Droid?
Yeah.
Alien who looked like he swallowed a midget and his ass is hanging out of his mouth. Ponda Baba.
But that's what I'm saying. And then look at Masters of the Universe.
The guy that stooged him out with the elephant trunk.
Yeah.
And then you get like Han Solo.
Yeah.
That's kind of like how I feel about if O-rings are going to do a best of and they're not going to kind of dial it back to the beginning and give us great versions of what we had previously. I just feel like that would be mishandled. But this is all just
right.
Somebody in a webinar or something with Hasbro had made mention to keep your eyes peeled if you like Dr. Mindbender, but you just let's get Cobra Commander first before we get even more guys that want to.
Well, and that's what I was trying to say was, if you're going to do G.I. Joe retro, let's do it right. Give us the original 13, or what is it? Yeah, give us the original 13 Joes. You can do it in 2 waves even. You can give us 6 and 7, right? You can give us the 6 for the first one, and then give us those green shirt Joes, the ones that made everybody fall in love with G.I. Joe, that allowed them to continue to go in the first place. I would love to see those O-ring Joes carded next to my Star Wars carded, next to my Masters of the Universe, next to my Teenage, all that first run
stuff.
And if I'm getting Storm Shadow, which, don't get me wrong, I love Storm Shadow, but he didn't come along until the second wave. Where are my first...
He's what, 83 for Storm Shadow?
Yeah. Where are my first run G.I. Joes? So that's what I'm talking about. Like, I think that Hasbro is on this kick where they think that, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are carrying the entire G.I. Joe franchise on their back. And I don't think that's true.
No, they listen to too many Larry Hama fans.
Yeah, there are so many other great characters and great action figures that are out there that, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, great as they are like, oh, well, it's another Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, or whatever.
So I've got a question. Since they're being so faithful to the original sculpts, and that Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes are super faithful.
They have the correct waists.
Yep. Do they still do, like, backwoods Scarlet, or do they sculpt up the face to make it just a little bit better looking than that original Scarlet face sculpt? You want the original?
Give me the original wonky.
Not like smooth it out, make it look like, make her look like...
Because that's not why I'm buying them. That's not why I'm buying them. I'm buying them because I want those figures. Even though I have them, I want them on the card that I had when I was a kid. I want the experience of going, hey, I got it from
the card art was hot. And then you got like...
Yeah. Don't even get me started on Cover Girl.
Einhorn from Ace Ventura face for Scarlet. That's okay. For retro purposes, keep it retro.
Keep it retro. Yep, exactly.
If you're into your action figures like that and, you need them to be sexed up, then probably, one, buy the Sky Striker, and two, use some of that Sky Striker money that you have to get yourself some therapy. Yeah. Yeah.
There are different toys out there if you like that kind of thing. We're talking about the wholesale release.
Not action figures. We're not talking about
it. We're talking about action figures. But anyway, so yeah, I would love to see more O-rings.
It's coming,
and I hope they do release them more than just this Snake Eyes Storm Shadow 2-pack.
Yeah, they're putting a lot of effort into it. If the retro line at Walmart went on hiatus, I can almost guarantee you Walmart's getting this in some form, whether it's single carded figures that'll be, $15 a piece or something like that, or maybe they'll sell, I don't know if they can get $40 out of a special box with 2 figures in it, like that Hasbro Pulse thing. So we'll have to see. I'd anticipate a retail release at like $12 to $15 a piece. They'll sell the crap out of them. I mean, look what happened with Transformers. Anything in that retro packaging, gone.
Yep.
Star Wars retro packaging, gone. And it's all in people like us. It's all in our collections in our house.
And even Masters of the Universe, anything other than He-Man and Skeletor, it's gone.
Yeah, big mistake packing those in solid cases. They should have came in blended cases, 3 He-Man, 3 Skeletor. They wouldn't have clogged up as much.
Yep, I agree. But I do know that the Marvel 2-packs, retro carded ones, did very well. People bought those, so who knows what we'll see.
I don't know how they ended up at Walmart, because they were a Pulse exclusive. And then now the 2-packs ended up at Walmart, and they sold the crap out of those. Yeah. They were gone. Yeah. There's a few that we saw on clearance, but I think it's because people had opened them.
I see stores like Big Lots now are starting to carry the single-carded Marvel figures as well.
Oh, those Secret Wars style?
Yeah, well, kind of the Secret Wars style, but they're more,
just the more basic,
the more basic,
POA, kid versions. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm kind of in love with those Marvel Legends retro style figures. I just can't justify it. I've had my finger over the buy button for like an entire run because they're only $10 a piece.
Yep.
But how do I display them? How do I show them?
Exactly. That's why I only picked up the one that I got, because I had to have Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man is really my favorite.
Cool. Really cool.
But if I kept going, oh gosh, I'd have to buy Captain America. I'd have to buy Iron Man.
U.S.
I'd have
Agent
to buy,
and Iceman.
I would just keep going.
Translucent and
oh gosh.
Daredevil is a really great one. Man, there's a ton of those good retro figures, but that's one line I probably will not collect, unless. I gotta say, if a Punisher comes out, I have to have the Punisher.
I've not seen one yet. Will they release one where he's all about guns? The new wave, the way the world is today, they may not want to market the Punisher. I would hope so.
Maybe
I hope
it's
they do.
Be intensive therapy Punisher, and he's going to come up with a list of people he needs to apologize to for murdering. I don't know.
Punisher with security blanket.
The Admonisher. Yeah. Yeah, so, it'll come. Wolverine's coming for that series pretty soon, and I'll probably pick that one up.
Oh, I will have to pick up a Wolverine.
Yeah, that's not necessarily news, just cool stuff. But we had a good time at the Inland Northwest Toy Show.
We did. We had a great time. There were more vendors this time than were the last time we went. Even though the last time we went, we still picked up some great stuff. But this time there was twice as many vendors to see. And, you know, I came home with twice as much loot. So what did you think there, Steve, before I get into it?
I had a lot of fun. There was just so many people that were easy to get along with. You just strike up conversation with people who are looking at things in the booth, and you make jokes about, you know, what this toy looks like or what that toy looks like. I mean, we're all there for the same thing. It's this absolute love of the hobby.
Yep.
The early bird tickets are definitely worth the extra $5 so you can get in and, you know, snipe a few things before the general public gets in there. But there's enough for everybody. Mm-hmm. And honestly, the pricing was pretty good except for one booth. There was a guy trying to sell a crummy box Terrordrome there for like $1,400.
Pass.
But being able to stand that close to one, I never had it as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
See the sheer size of the box. I mean, could you even have imagined Christmas morning, the box the size of a toddler itself?
It's pretty big.
Massive box, and it just is really cool. But that guy, I don't know. I'm sure he's probably the coolest guy in the world. He just wasn't my particular flavor, but almost everything else was just really well priced.
Well, there was that, and every single one of the vendors that I ran into was like, you know, hey, make an offer. You know, what's this? Just because it had a price of $20 on it doesn't mean I couldn't walk away with it for, you know, $12, which I did on some of those things.
You did, yeah. You need to write a sequel to Art of the Deal, Art of the Toy Deal.
You know, really all it is.
Yours wouldn't be full of crap.
No, I mean, basically, the best way to do it, and, you know, this is for anything in life. I mean, it's not just to get something that you want. The first thing to do is to just connect with the person on a personal level first. Talk about why you like these toys. Talk about why you're happy to see these toys on the shelves and that there's other people who are collecting. Everybody wants to hear that. I want to hear that. So, you know, just talk to them and then talk to, you know, show them the ones that you're interested in. And if you're buying more than one, just say, hey, you know, how about this for all of these? And usually that knocks the price way down. You know, like we've talked about this before. I mean, these are all secondhand toys mostly for the most part. Like 99% of everything that we're going to run into out there is secondhand toys. So I doubt that these people even paid full price for the ones that they're trying to to sell. So, you know, they're just wanting to move the product out of their inventory. So if you walk up and say, hey, will you take 10 for this? They're going to take 10 for that. You know,
yeah.
So
and if they can't, they'll let you know.
They'll let you know,
and you'll give them 12 and get it.
Yeah, exactly. And if that's too much for you, then you walk right on by, and the guy behind you is going to be like, "Hey, I'll pay you for that," and it's sold either way. What does it matter? So my thing about it is, you don't know until you ask. So
and you don't get what you don't ask for.
That's right. So I ask, and 9 times out of 10, they'll give me exactly what I was asking for. So.
Yes, great people. Highly recommended. If you are within 200 miles of Spokane, Washington, make it a point to get out to this toy show. It's twice a year.
Yep.
In November, and I think the other one is in May. And like the main organizer is Time Bomb Toys. I mentioned him earlier. He is just the coolest dude in the world. Visit his shop sometime in North Spokane. He's got all kinds of cool stuff in there. Usually it's very reasonably priced too. I picked up one of my very favorite pieces in there. I got a Knickerbocker Aragorn who looks like Javier Bardem. No country for old men. Creepiest, ugliest figure ever made, but I love it. And he gave me a great price on it. So just stop in there, support him. He's a local guy, and the fact that he's willing to organize a show like this means that he loves the hobby and
he does
he's
love
just
the hobby.
way into it. So
He'll talk to you when you walk into his store.
Yeah.
You just strike up a conversation with him, and he'll go for it.
And he remembers the toys too.
He does.
Oh, you remember this guy had a button that always broke off, or he knows.
He's a fun guy. He's a fun guy. You picked up something fun at that one. What was your one thing that you thought was pretty cool? You picked it up right off the bat.
Oh, so I'm now to this point where I'm like the eclectic weird toy collector. I have the main things I collect, but I had really always wanted to get a 3 3/4 inch scale Captain Kirk, and I did not like the Mego figures from the motionless picture, where they're all wearing their nightwear, their pajamas. So they missed Wrath of Khan. They only made toys from the slow boring movies, apparently. But Ertl did a line of Search for Spock figures, and you could get that Captain Kirk in the cool red uniform. And I picked it up carded. Card was, I guess, probably about a 7 out of 10, maybe a 6, but the figure's just pristine and peach. $25.
That's a good price.
That was the first thing I grabbed. I went right to it. That's half to a third of what you'd pay for it on eBay, and it's such an eclectic, weird thing. I'm happy to have it. I did not get what I really wanted to find, which is even weirder than that.
Mm-hmm.
I need a 1/18 scale Lee Majors Fall Guy truck from Ertl.
Oh, yeah. You were
the
talking
big brown
about
truck.
that.
I would have loved to have one. I got the figure in like dead mint condition. And I've been looking at them, and I think I might buy one from Greenlight. They're about $120, but they're great. They're like a modern.
Does it fit the figure?
Years, the figure will fit inside the truck. But there's just something about the old one.
Yeah.
Having that old Tonka toy Ertl thing, that'd be pretty sweet.
Those beefy trucks. Yeah, from Tonka.
Yeah, and I'd love to get some 3 3/4 inch A-Team figures. I had them as a kid, and they were brittle as hell even back then. And they were just like 2 body molds in bright colors. You had like blue, orange.
What were they thinking? They just molded the heads and stuck them on some bodies that they had.
Black jumpsuit thing, but I had them when I was a kid. They were really cool. So
oh yeah.
I didn't find those, but I wasn't disappointed. And my good buddy Doug, my plastic crack buyer, became my plastic crack dealer. He found a super sweet Generations Gears that I've been looking for a long time. I managed to find something cool that he wanted to buy, but he hooked me up. So, I mean, just that and that Captain Kirk like made my trip. But I found a few other cool things too.
You did.
Sacrificial NECA Casey Jones because I'm afraid to take my Ultimate out of the package.
He's gorgeous. I love him. I found some good stuff too. So I found.
Yeah, you did.
I came back from this one Transformer heavy. I don't have a problem buying third-party Transformers or knockoff Transformers. I think those are just as much fun as the official, quote-unquote official.
Sometimes better.
Sometimes better, exactly. So one of my favorite things I got from this trip was the third-party Skyfire, which is nicknamed Sky Guardian. Mm-hmm. He's a really large figure. He came in the box. I got him for $10. It was a great score. I mean, I don't know if a lot of people would consider that one a good one, but I felt really good about that, walking away from him.
That thing is so cartoon accurate. I mean, at the time when that came out, we did not have Titans Returns or whatever, Earthrise or whichever one. We did not have that Skyfire, which is to date probably the best one they've come up with. But, God, this thing, I was shocked at the scale.
Yeah.
A massive figure, and it just looks great.
He's really cool. He does have some of the early third party things that plague a lot of those figures. Like he's got some loose joints, I think. But other than that, he looks really great. I love him. He's really cool. I walked away with some third party, the really colorful Seekers. What was it? Sunstorm and
he had like Acid Storm.
The yellow, the green, and the purple
Acid
one.
Rain, Sunstorm, and hey, I don't know what his name is.
Purple.
The purple guy. That's not Skywarp. They're the miscolored ones from More Than Meets the Eye.
They're the background characters, but I love them. And these ones, I think, I was learning how to transform them. They transform really smoothly. They feel really very well put together, so I was really happy with
God,
these
I
ones.
thought there was die cast in them. There was so much weight to those
No,
toys.
but they're really good looking. I mean, they're small. They're larger than core class, but they're smaller than deluxe. So they're kind of in that weird in between a size. But I think they were great.
What would you call them? Like 4-inch scale, something like that.
Maybe 4-inch, 4.5-inch, maybe.
Yeah.
But they were still too good to pass up for the price that I paid for them. And in fact, I'm kicking myself in the pants because there was 3 more of them that were the other jets. Like the ones with the fans and the wings. I forget what those ones are called.
Oh, yeah.
The Coneheads.
Ramjet.
Yeah. He was selling those ones too, and I'm sure I could have got those 3 for the same price. But,
you got the Skittles Force.
I did. I got Skittles. I picked up, some... Legends class Autobots, Mini-bots. Yeah. Picked up some Star Wars a little bit, but then the other thing I got that I was really, really happy with was I picked up a NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, which has now turned into a... God, I gotta get the other one.
You got mission creep hard.
Now I'm gotta complete them. And so I went, and tried to do what I've got to do to complete them, because now I'll go to bed every night thinking I need to complete them.
They're so good. We break NECA's balls a lot over their figures being so fragile, but that Raphael is just the paint job is absolutely exquisite. It's a solid figure. It stays posed.
He does. It's extremely screen accurate.
Yeah.
So when I saw the other ones that I need to buy, I'm looking at them close. I'm like, oh man, those are beautiful. I got to have all 4 of them. I was not, but I, what are you going to do in a situation like that?
Well, and then we sit here, and you can't have like a cool toy with some other cool toy guy. And I got to get a set of 4 of them, probably. Probably.
You're going to pull the trigger.
So if you guys haven't seen it, on Target, there's a Movie Star six pack of Movie Star Turtles, a reissue. And it comes in kind of a cool deluxe box. It's just like the Terradrome pack and just like the original Turtles pack. You open it up, and it's all on vintage and retro cards. And I bought them because I never had those Turtles, and because I want to complicate my life and figure out how to put another 4 feet of retail racking in my toy room to display these.
I told you how to fix that. We can just put it over here.
Yeah, right. For me to enjoy. Sweetheart, I got you this... I got you this bowling ball for you, me.
For you, me.
Yeah, for you, me. But now, God, so I just bought those. It was only $45. Great
That's a good
deal
price,
on Target.
yeah.
For 6 carded figures. Splinter, the 4 Turtles, and
Shredder.
The Super Shredder. But your NECA Super Shredder's sweet as hell. So now,
comparatively speaking,
it's going to be like $120 to buy these 4 figures. It's hard.
But you're going to feel so good once you get them, because you're going to look at them and you're going to fall in love with them instantly.
Let's make a deal. When we're done with this podcast, I'll go home and drink about 6 or 7 Dadweisers, and then I'll really be in the mood for some online shopping. I don't have any Ambien laying around, so I don't shop after Ambien, but a few... I'm 43, they're Dadweisers now.
You're going to go home tonight, and I'm going to get a text and be like, I bought them. I know it. I have a feeling. There's a disturbance in the force, and I know what you're going to do.
And I bought something else. I bought a Fall Guy.
Not only did I buy the Turtles, but I bought the Fall Guy.
I bought 2 of them.
I bought the Sky Striker.
And then I pissed in the pedestal sink because I thought it was the toilet. I need to get some commission. I can't afford this.
I gotta go work hard next week. Oh man. But hey, that's good stuff. But all in all, we picked up some fun stuff. But not only that, we got to hang out, which is always a pleasure. We get to talk about toys. We get to talk about life.
Yeah, your son came up with us. Always a pleasure having him along too.
Yeah,
just a kindred spirit there.
He loves collecting toys just like his dad. So, I did something right. Pass it down to the next generation. He's heavily he likes the Clone Wars. He likes collecting the clone troopers. He's trying to build an army of clone troopers.
Plenty of them to be had.
Oh yeah, he found a whole bunch of them. He loves Tron.
Oh yeah.
So anything he sees with Tron, he'll pick it right up. And he's also just an eclectic collector. He'll find something. I'll be like, really, you wanted that? That's what you chose to spend your money on?
I've seen him buy some weird stuff.
I mean,
he got that. What does that gun do again?
It was.
It looked like a cap gun, but it's this metal gun, and it holds some kind of like long rubber bullets. Or something.
It shoots actual rubber bullets from a toy that they sold in the 50s.
That was pretty cool.
It's called a Frontier pistol from Fanner or something like that.
Yeah, he got it for a really good deal. It's a neat piece of collectible item.
It's one
I prefer the real ones with gunpowder, but can't afford the bullets to go shoot them.
But that's something I would have passed right up on, and he was like, "No, you know what? I had a good conversation with this guy. I think I'll pick it up." And so that's what it was really all about. So.
Yeah, so overall, fun time.
Good trip.
It was a blast. Can't wait. Want to do it again.
Yep. So I look forward to seeing some people here, if they're listening, our one listener, head out there in May.
It's both of our moms listening.
It's both of our moms, yeah.
Or comment below.
Yeah, comment below.
Yeah, tell us what you guys thought about the show, if anybody went. Ask questions. Be a community. No sense in being a shut-in that stares at people's shoelaces. It's fun. Have fun with this hobby.
Absolutely. All right, so let's move on into a topic. So we were talking about what we wanted to kind of share, and we were thinking one-offs, right?
Yeah.
We're thinking, what are some of the lines of toys that we, as collectors, we know what they are. We love them. But, as a kid, they didn't last very long. They were one line. They were like one and done.
One series, probably less than a year on the shelves. Maybe they started off with some traction and just disappeared, but maybe we'll do roundtable style. We'll kick it back and forth and give our thoughts on a few of our favorites.
Start it off.
One of my absolute favorites was Inhumanoids. A bunch of weird, spooky, gross-looking monsters, but the heroes had these really awesome like mech suits that they were in. I remember one guy had a drill mandible thing. That was my favorite. Odd purple suit, but he's like this bald guy with a bad attitude, and his name was Augur. And I think it was called the Earth Corps, was the three guys that were on the same team. And the Inhumanoids, which the line is named for,
were the monsters they fought, right?
Yeah, and you had a weird monster with a rib cage that came open.
That dude was awesome!
That show was like startlingly violent and grown up.
Yeah.
And it was part of this action hour with Bigfoot and I believe also robotics. So that was kind of this thing on Saturday mornings. They would rotate out, or you would only get like a third of each episode, and they really stretched it out, even though there really wasn't much to it. But the figures are large,
very big,
articulated. It was almost like,
wasn't one of them like there was like round? He was like had like a round parts.
I think that's Herc Armstrong is the cool name, right? Yeah, I'm Herc Armstrong. I'm just this big macho guy. My name's John Bicep. Death Blow.
My name is Paul Peck.
Johnny Big Arms. Yeah. Herc Manstrong. So yeah, he was the leader.
Right on. Okay.
And you had Augur and I'm missing the name of the third guy, the other scientist in like the blue and the yellow getup. But you had like these two badass roughneck guys and like the nerd. But you had kind of a subline too. You had the big monsters, like the three big monsters, and you had a tree thing and some little like troglodyte critters that ran around. So here are these giant figures, and they had a vehicle that they trolled around in, and they had this cartoon that was really like edgy for the time.
I remember the opening being really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Like very well done.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Inhumanoids.
Yeah.
Inhumanoids. They get you sick and you get pink eye. I don't remember the words, but it was something like that. So
I think you got it right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure I'm 100% right. Yeah. Flint Dilly, if you're out there listening to me, you can correct me. You did a wonderful job with that line.
He's like, we should have used that.
Mama's pink eye. I don't know. Go blow on the dog's butt and find out. Anyways, really sweet figures, though, right? I mean, that was a cool one-and-done toy line.
Very cool. Yeah, they were. And I remember them. I don't know. Okay, so I don't have any. So, and I haven't seen one in a while. But I don't remember if they were super articulated or not. I can't remember if they had like bending elbows or knees. I don't know if they did.
They had elbow and shoulder. I think the shoulder was just a single. It was not a ball joint. I think it was forward, but I believe the elbows had a range of motion. The wrists, the hips had good motion. The knees bent, and probably what was one of the coolest things is these characters were so distinct. Mm-hmm. Another case of like why shows like Transformers and G.I. Joe lived on so well, because the characters are distinct and had life to them. And they had different voices. It wasn't just, somebody who came in and talked in their regular voice.
Here, Chris Pratt, read this.
Yeah, yeah. That's one of my picks. What do you think? What do you got?
Man, just thinking about this, there's so many lines that I want to bring up, but I'll try not to name all of them at once. So I'll name one at one. Cristar.
Yeah.
Cristar, I absolutely love the idea of Cristar. You know me and translucent plastic, first of all. It literally is like crack. And I absolutely love it. And the idea of, these living crystal warriors living on this crystallized planet, fighting these magma evil guys with magic wizards and everything else as well. Great idea. The
cool
figures,
castle playset.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And a dragon.
Yeah, and there was a few of them. So, the figures were pretty well articulated. The shoulders and the heads were still the straight arm stuff. Their knees would bend though.
Did they have articulated elbows?
No.
The knees did though.
The knees were articulated. So you had Cristar, who I absolutely loved, but can never really seem to find even today. Good luck trying to find Cristar. Warbow. Was one of my absolutely favorite figures. I loved how his green looked. He had a crossbow and he had a patch and he was just dangerous and really cool. And he was the one figure that when I was a kid with my Castle Grayskull, I would pretend like he was the spirit of Grayskull. Like he was he had that green and he would move around in it. So I don't know, I loved him. And then you had not Monstar. That's another one. You had Magmar. Who was...
Looked like a crunchy Cheeto.
Yeah, he did look like a kind of a crunchy Cheeto.
It's the most delicious action figure of 1982.
Oh, but they had... And they tried to have a gimmick as well. Each one of them came with like this...
There was a guy that looked like Pope Mindbender or something.
Yeah, right? He was one of the wizards, and he had the cone... Yeah. Or not the cone, like this freaking square head.
Yeah.
But I still think the idea was really sound. I think it was a cool idea. I just got a couple of the comics that went along with that line, and there was kind of it was an interesting storyline that crossed over with Marvel many times, crossed over with Doctor Strange, crossed over with Nightcrawler. So I did a little bit of back reading on it, and it was all from the mind of Jim Shooter. Coleco came to them and said, "Hey, we want to have a toy line. Help us think of something," and he came up with the whole kit and caboodle of it.
Terrific toy line. The scale, the sculpting, the accessory loadout.
Yep.
The range of figures and vehicles just didn't catch fire.
Unfortunately, it didn't, and that's really sad because they look beautiful. They are great figures, and as a kid and even as an adult, I love them. I loved them as a kid. They were cool. I looked for them everywhere I went. And like I said, they had a really they tried to give it a gimmick. They had this little seeing eye prism thing that you could look up, and it would kind of give you this prism look when you would look at things. It didn't work very well, but it was a gimmick.
When I couldn't get it to burn ants, I threw it away.
It didn't work, but at least they tried. But that's one of my one and dones. I wish they would have done more.
Maybe. Since it was swords and sorcery, we had a little line called Masters of the Universe that came in and was destroying
everything. Yep.
But I fondly remember Cristar. I had Cristar and Chester Cheetor. I had those two guys, and then I think I discovered He-Man shortly thereafter and was just.
Cristar, what's this?
Well, I lost everything immediately.
Well, yeah, the same thing plagued it that plagued a lot of the other toys around the day. You know, very small accessories, lost as soon as you opened it in the back seat of your car, and never to be found again. So,
Yep. Okay.
What's your next one?
Wheeled Warriors.
Oh, yes.
Such a great concept of being able to swap out parts from the different vehicles. The vehicles had drivers, and they had that cool gold vac metal thing going on, cool gray and black highlights. Awesome play set there, that like rolling thing that opened up, and it had bays for the vehicles.
Wow.
And
the bad guys were unique too.
Yeah, the bad guys were like a bunch of these brains that sat in the vehicles. They were supposed to be these plants that grew, that were combined with these hard metal parts, and they were after. I don't know why they were after the Wheeled Warriors based on the literature that came with the toys.
I don't know either.
Because I think that what happened is that toy line hit, and then some months later came Jason the Wheeled Warriors, the cartoon, which was a great 80s cartoon. Probably the best opening cartoon theme song of all time of the 80s. And then it had characters.
I would differ on that, but
I don't know, it's pretty cool. You had like your Han Solo character that shuttled him around, and you had Jace, this kid with this magic ring from his dad, and they're being chased by the monster mines. But the toys, you really got a bunch of these little orange and black guys in dinner jackets.
It totally looked like they were wearing ties.
Yeah. And they didn't work. So the thing that worked for G.I. Joe, the characters, the Wheeled Warriors line launches, and it's got nothing unique other than just the sheer playability of the toys, which is amazing.
The modular vehicles, and actually modular anything of the 80s, was very cool. The fact that I could take it apart, put it back together again in any way that I wanted to, as long as it fit the ports and the connectors, I loved that idea.
Yeah, and you got a driver that got with it, so very mask-like with the smaller scale driver. Pre-mask.
Yep. It was a vehicle line. It wasn't an action figure line.
And they were what, like $6 or $7.99 at retail back then?
Maybe.
So still well gettable by most kids' budgets. I don't think it had the magic of the characters to support it.
Yep.
It was probably just mistiming from cartoon and toy line. One toy line. And when they were getting ready, as the cartoon came out and gained steam, the toys didn't sell as well. They were getting ready to release packs of the heroes from the cartoon, so it would have been sweet getting
can you imagine that? Yeah.
And I didn't like the little robot knight Un or the girl, but
I didn't like the wizard.
Getting a cool saw boss would have been neat, or some kind of like creepy looking monster mind guys with their oversized brains pulsating, rather than just like this wad of green spaghetti with goggles that were the
That's what they were.
Drivers. Yeah.
With a little circuit board on there.
Yeah, the little circuit board. But the monster mines were cool, black and gold color scheme.
Yeah, they were.
And the heroes were the gray. They had those big motorized walking vehicles that were cool. The Trailblazer and the, oh God help me, mutant head bad Trailblazer. I don't remember the name of it. The Terror Blazer. The cool like rolling playset just suffered from bad timing, I think.
I don't know what it was, but it was really cool. I liked them. And if you can still find them today, they were favorited by a lot of kids at the time too. So I know that they're very popular. Very expensive if you
Hard
can find.
to complete.
Yeah. Good. That's a good line. I love it. All right. Balls in my court. Let's see. Silverhawks.
You're right. Dude, you're right. All those multicolored vac metal, cool bad guys, cool action features. Yep.
Yep. So I'll say some things I liked about the line, and then I'll say some things I didn't like about the line. So the things I liked about the line: the vac metal bodies. So home run. Like that was awesome. Like you couldn't come up with a better idea for that. They had wings. They could fly in space. They were individualized. You had Quicksilver, you had Stillwill, you had Stillheart, you had
Bluegrass.
What was the kid's name? Copper Kid.
Mm-hmm.
So you had some really cool characters, and then you had a great cartoon that went along with it. You had a great bad guy who's still remembered as a great 80s villain, Monstar.
And you had his friend that cuts all the cheese up for Taco Tuesday.
But he had a great rogues gallery too, right? Because you had like Buzzsaw, Molecular, what was it? The Bull. Oh gosh, what was his name?
Bullcrap?
No,
that's not it.
but it's going to come back to me when I'm not thinking about it. But anyway, it had everything that an 80s toy line needed. Great figures, great characters, great cartoon, and don't tell me you can't think of the theme song. I mean, because the theme song,
Silver Hawks,
partly metal, partly real,
hollow bones, just like birds.
I don't think that was that wit.
Nope.
But great toy line to play with. I loved them. Now, the thing that I didn't like about it, they did have some articulation. Their legs were not articulated at the knees, only at the hips.
Yeah, they were like 5 POA.
If I remember. Because their arms would not swing forward.
They wouldn't swing forward? I thought they would.
No. So they would go down, and the mechanism to make their arms go out on their back only went up. And their arms could only go at a thing and then come down. Yeah. So for playability...
I had a Quicksilver briefly as a kid. I just don't recall the...
I do not remember the arms ever being able to go forward. They had cloth wings with plastic connectors, very thin little plastic connectors, and those little things would bust, snap off. So though the toy line was great idea, the things that they put in the toys were very cool. Some of them, though, I don't think were good execution. I think one with the arms and one with the wing connectors was not very cool. But I think that if they had given it an opportunity and given it a second line or a second season or whatever you want to call it, I think they would have come up with some better figures, and I think they would have come out with some really great ideas.
What year is Silverhawks? Like 87?
I think it's either 86 or 87.
It's pretty crowded. Yeah, it's pretty crowded back then. I think that might have had something to do with it.
Yeah, but it was still I mean, I love the vac metal and clear plastic. I mean, it doesn't get any more 80s than that.
It was pretty cool. Yes.
All right.
Well, I'll tell you the one that I wish that we had. Mm-hmm. It did have a toy line. It did not come here, and that is an absolute shame. I'm talking about Galaxy Rangers.
It didn't come here?
Love the Galaxy Rangers. No, it was Euro exclusive.
I remember seeing it.
All of the figures. They could ride the horses. They had a weird sort of a stance. They all looked like they'd been riding for a while, but that show was so awesome. And I redact my Jason the Wheeled Warriors theme song because Galaxy Rangers probably had the coolest theme song. You had your initial 4 core characters. I don't even think there was a bad guy, and you had their horses. And that was about it. And they saw release in Europe. Good luck ever finding anything reasonably complete. I would have loved to have a golden goose. That guy had such a cool power. The show had great animation and cool space western story. I wasn't going to bring that up, but I just really feel kind of cheated that we never got those figures.
See, I wonder if this is one of those Mandela effects. Or maybe it's just where I grew up as a kid, because I grew up in military housing, like I said before, and we had a lot of crossover from Japanese and the Asian markets because they would bring those over with them when they would come and move to the States and stuff at that time. So we got to see things like Transformers before they were Transformers.
Yeah, like all the Diaclones and the Diacron and everything that...
Exactly. So I wonder if maybe I saw a toy when I was a kid, because I remember picking one up in my hand and playing with it.
Yeah, I want to say they were about in 6-inch scale.
They were big,
like that.
Yeah.
But never saw an official U.S. release. It's a shame. I love that show.
Interesting.
But we're starting to run a little bit long. Maybe what we'll do is a few more, and then we'll bonus cast.
All right.
If there's anything else to put out there, because we cannot end the list with just one more.
No. Let me see. If I could think of one really good one. Okay, I Visionaries.
Yep.
Visionaries. So slightly larger than your Joes. I think they were like, I don't know if they were a half an inch taller or.
I want to say they're 4.5 inch.
So they
like
were they were taller than your Joes, bigger. They had the same articulation.
Yep. Perfect.
They had some really cool accessories. They came with helmets. They came with specialized weapon gear. They each had their own really cool hologram on their chest. So yeah, Visionaries.
And they had their stop sign with the hologram on it too.
Yeah, they did with their. So that's another one that I think was very cool concept, mixing the loss of technology and the gaining of magic. If you go by the cartoon, and that was very, very different take on sword and sorcery at the time. So of course I gravitated towards it. Absolutely had to have some of them. Witterquick was I think my favorite.
Absolute favorite of mine. Yeah, the color scheme was amazing.
Yeah, red and gray. And I don't know, what was the lion?
Leoric.
Leoric, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the playability was cool too. I mean, you could, even though they were slightly larger than your Joes, I remember playing with them with my Joes and with my He-Man and with everything else. So the playability was not lost. It was definitely there. And they had some interesting vehicles too.
Yeah, they did.
They had a weird hologram triangle thing. I don't know whether you could fit like 3 or 4 of these guys in there, and that was pretty cool. So from a kid standpoint, when that was brand new, oh yeah, dude, give me some of that hologram love. I love it.
A lot of appeal. Had holograms, but wasn't stupid like Supernaturals.
Yeah. Oh no, we're not. Supernaturals is not the line we're talking about.
I'm not bringing that. That's not on the
list.
list.
Not on the list.
No. Nor is Infaceables. Those are dumb too.
But
and
Visionaries.
I'm sorry, it hurts the 3 Infaceables fans. You guys
they're not listening to us anyway.
Oh no. We're only in 6 views instead of 7. Right.
No, but I mean, come on. You got to give credit where credit is due, because the Visionaries. Well, I mean, it was aptly named.
Yeah,
I think it was even for the toy department that it was, the other toys that it was up against. It was very unique, and so why it was a one and done, I don't know, because it could have gone for a while.
Yeah, I just want to say that like in that period between like 86 and 88, there was this glut of product on the shelves. Mm-hmm. You had your 3 big players, your established ones. And then, man, in that time, you had Mask that was huge.
And it would almost make this list if it didn't have a second.
Oh, they had like 4 waves. Or 5. They had like 4 regular waves of Mask, I think, and then the last like split seconds, and it was big in Europe, and things came out there. So Mask does not make this list.
They need to bring
it was not a one and done.
They need to bring it back, though.
Yep. So. Visionaries, yes.
Mm-hmm. And the bad guys were really... Well, the cartoon was a lot of fun to watch. I don't know if you ever watched it or not, but the bad guys were... Like, the head bad guy was like... He was kind of like a Skeletor, right? He was like, why do I have these buffoons? Why are these guys on my team? So
you think you've got it rough? You don't know shit. What are you talking about, Skillet? Bad beast man.
Where's my newspaper? Get outside.
Swat them with the paper. Don't lick your crotch by the table.
We could go on and on for hours. Okay.
Yes.
Visionaries. That was mine.
Okay. So. Why don't we wrap standard cast right there, and we'll continue. We'll do a little bonus cast because there's a lot more good stuff to cover.
Mm-hmm. But that's a good idea. And so if you want to look at the bonus, it'll probably be uploaded right after this one, but we'll call this one done. So thank you very much for joining us. If you're listening, we really appreciate it. Find somebody else to listen to this.
Get your moms too. I don't care.
Yeah. We'll take whatever view we can get.
Especially if you've got somebody who is bedridden for a medical reason and they can't go anywhere, make them listen.
I don't know if that would be torture or not, but hey, it gives us a view, so
take our word for it. They'll love us.
But so yeah, like and subscribe. Maybe there'll be more of us coming in the future. So thanks everybody.